cousins, Anthony Jones here with Brigade Boats. Thanks for joining me. In this video, we're going to take a look at the phenomenal total transformation that I did to the Lowe 170 that I have dubbed the El Diablo, because the devil is in the details. And guys, we're on the road to 50K, so if you want to help us out, join the channel. If you enjoyed the content, hit that subscribe button. I would greatly appreciate it. Hey, are you guys tired of this crap? Me too. 6 Sense Fishing has a modern solution called the bait chamber, designed with precision to protect your hard baits and keep you organized out on the water. So throw Grandpa's tackle tray away, head to 6sensefishing.com, grab you some bait chambers and use the code BRIGADE at checkout to save 10% off your entire order. Here she is, guys. Lowe 170. Let's do a walk through this thing, show you what she looks like. Turned out really nice. Sure the customer is going to be excited about this one when he picks it up tomorrow. Like all of my walkthrough videos, we're just going to start at one spot in the boat and work our way through, but let's talk about the exterior of this boat first. When you see this boat, I'm sure the first thing that you notice is this bright red shiny paint job. This boat was actually sprayed by my good friend Chris at ATF Hydrographics. You might have also seen his channel, Send It John Boats. He's done all of my paint work from day one. He's painted multiple boats for me, and we tried something different on this one, and this was the customer's choice on color, but this is a candy paint job. This boat was sprayed with 7 coats of paint. Started with a silver base coat. It had 2 coats of the red, 2 coats of candy red inner coat, and then 2 coats of semi-gloss. We went semi-clear coat. So 7 coats of paint, and I'm gonna roll some footage of what it looks like in the sun right about now. That thing looks nice in the sun, doesn't it? Now let's look at the bottom. Now I actually painted this here at the house, and this is just an oil industrial enamel, and it's the same thing that I painted the trailer in. So you'll notice I did the bottom and the trailer in the black, and this trailer rolled in, and that was the first thing I did, was strip the trailer, repaint all of the trailer. We added new fenders on the trailer, brand new bunks on the trailer. Can barely see them. And I did a video on those, how to do waterproof bunks. New bunks, as you can see, new hardware. We've got the gator skins on the trailer here. This customer had just put these new taillights on. We've got new transom straps. Even did a little bit of gator skins up front on the trailer. And speaking of gator skins, this boat has more of it than any project I've done so far. Of course, I did an artistic design up front. Now, granted, the trolling motor covers half of that, but I tried. These flat gunnels give you the ability to do some things inside that I'll also show you. So just from a design standpoint, just really, really love this hull. Outside, also, these tiny navigation lights, as you can see, U.S. Coast Guard approved, 2-mile visibility. These things are awesome. Got them on Amazon. Filled some holes for original plumbing, shaved those from original live wells and through holes. And on the back, this transom looked like somebody took a baseball bat to it. A lot of kitty hair and glass work to fix this thing and just kind of make it look presentable. It just made it look brand new, basically, is kind of our goal for the outside. Of course, you can see the through holes for the new live well setup that's up front now. So with that said, I think that's everything on the outside. Let's go inside of the boat. I think on this one, we'll start at the back. This is a E-Propulsion Navy 6.0. This is the 9.9 horsepower. It's the largest outboard they make currently. And it runs on 2 48-volt lithium batteries that are in this hatch. This is the mega hatch. This hatch is actually 4 foot and like 3.5. This is the biggest hatch I've ever put in a boat. The factory live well was originally in this back deck of this boat. You had a live well here, and then you have like a battery or gas tank access back here, and we gutted it all. Let me show you how it turned out. Of course, you've got your seat pedestal base, your plate welded in, and then room for all the activities, cousins. He could fit a whole bunch of batteries. Now, these are big batteries, guys. 48 volts, as you can see, and they are in there with a custom system I kind of implemented with some aluminum and tube and angle. Lock them in, strap down. Of course, all the lids in this boat are Tiny Boat Nation Outdoors lids. This is a custom size I had fabbed. So that means that they've got the anti-flood tracks. So if water gets into the track, it drains into the hose, goes to the channel on the bottom of the boat, works its way to the back to the bilge pump. Brand new bilge pump. There you see my flow right fitting coming in for the live well fill. And then you've got your cables. Did a little trick thing here. Cables come through. And this actually can open up if I could get to it. He could do this if he wants. Just gives it a finished look, guys. And it's got these struts on it to hold it up. So if he's out on the water at home, he just pop this bad boy like a car hood, charge up his batteries. These are lithiums. They charge in 3 hours. Of course, he's got lights in all his hatches. And then there's his rear pole light. But that's it for the back deck. On the inside, of course, just like the outside, on the inside, the first thing you're going to notice is all of this gray material. This is EVA foam. This is actually HydroTurf name brand. This is the gray with the routed lines in it, black. And then, believe it or not, you probably can't tell. Maybe you can. This is all HydroTurf as well. Look at that. All of this in this boat is HydroTurf on all of the verticals. I'm just gonna tell you, it wasn't easy. It was a lot of time, a lot of templating. It's in the build video, but a lot of work to do the entire 100% interior of this boat in HydroTurf. But man, it turned out really nice. Really like the look, and I like the contrast of the black. Again, from a design standpoint, I like the different textures between the gator skin, the black HydroTurf, and then the brushed gray with the little pops I did of the carbon fiber on the panels. And I just think it just all kind of pulls together. Moving on to the cockpit. Originally, the steering console was right here. Of course, that was gutted, replaced it with some hatches. Again, I hate to harp on design cues, but because of the shape of the hull and how aggressive this thing is up front, that's kind of where I came with these sharp angles on the gator skins. And then I wanted to kind of replicate, more sharp angles inside the cockpit. And with the contrasting HydroTurf, I was able to kind of pull that off and have those pops of color and it not all just dilute into one color. With the black on the verticals, these angles really show off. You got your angles down here. And another thing I did that's unique to this build is these little side steps. Did another step here, but these kind of kill two birds with one stone. They look cool. They give you another spot to sit. You could sit in there. Kids would sit in there. It's great for that. And then also it gives me a great spot to route my wiring and plumbing. Because remember, that live well has got to feed from the back of the boat to up front. And I've got a lot of wiring going through from the back of the boat to up front because our switch panel is right here. Let's go ahead and start taking a look at some of these compartments. Of course, we've got lights everywhere inside the cockpit. This thing lights up like a spaceship at night. And you've got deck lights, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So all in all, I believe this boat had 24 or 26 LED lights in the cockpit, all the hatches, and then in the deck lighting. So also another first, more LED lights in this boat than anything else I've done in the past. There's a couple in the live well as well. Let's look at inside of some of these hatches and work our way through the front deck. We'll start here with the old control panel. And this one turned out really killer. Of course, he's got all his live well controls for the flow right system we've got in this boat. He's got the switch panel, of course, bilge, nav lights, deck lights, cockpit lights, hatch lights, live well lights, torpedoes, and then the old co-angler eject. So when his co-angler isn't performing the way he should, ejectocito. And then the hatch directly adjacent to that is just added storage. He's got his fuse box in here also. that powers everything in the switch panel, so he could easily access that. Another little thing I did, added a little USB port voltmeter, so he could turn that on, read his volts, charge a phone in here or a GoPro or, you know, whatever if he wants to. Beyond that, you know, just tackle storage, whatever he wants to stick in here, just another hatch, just more storage. All right, moving on to the step up to the front deck. The customer wanted this implemented in this design from day one. This is something he wanted, and he told me he wanted it, and he told me he wanted to make sure the batteries went in the step, make the best use of the space. And as you can see, we've got 3 batteries in this step, which is pretty amazing, and they fit like a glove. And honestly, he's got a little bit more room in there for storage if you want to stick some tackle trays or something in there, or a floatable or whatever. These are 3 amped outdoor lithium batteries, 60 amp hour. He's got them in there and they fit like a glove. The 2 here run the Garmin trolling motor that is up front. This one over here, tucked away, runs all the onboard electronics and actually feed into this fuse box. And there's a secondary fuse box in the front for my customer's graph setup. He could add more graphs or stack them in the future. He's got plenty of juice. He's got 2 dedicated lines coming off that battery. Both of them are 8 gauge to that fuse block and that fuse block. And I'll show you that one in a minute. Moving on to the rod locker. 100% turfed inside, again, the black and the gray. As you can see, not gonna lie, this is a small rod locker. It's a tight fit. This is what the customer wanted. This is the factory size rod locker that was in here. I didn't change anything with that. We just retrofitted it with a new lid from Tiny Boat Nation Outdoors. It still turned out really clean. Right here is the live well. Now this was a big deal because the live well was originally in the back deck, and we moved it up front, and I had to run the plumbing from the back, and then I had to put the pumping unit up front, and I'll show you that in a second. But let's check out the live well. This live well is from Tiny Boat Nation Outdoors. Keep saying it. All the lids, the live well, I get a lot of my parts, a lot of them in this build, from seat pedestals to latches to the flow right pumps and plumbing for the live well. So here is the live well. Tournament grade live well tub. Again, available on the site, so if you're doing a DIY build, you can replicate something like this in your own project. Just check them out on the site. Use that code BRIGADE for 5% off at checkout. This live well, of course, has the flow right aerator pump out combo head. You got your overflow, you got your drain, and your recirc. Got your splash guard. That's all there is to it. Just a really good setup for this guy for tournament fishing. Let's move on to the hatch directly in front of the live well. Things begin to get a little bit tricky the further we move forward, because we're trying to cram a lot of stuff in a small space. And what I mean by that is, if you look at this lid, you've got a seat pedestal in the lid, and if you look at this lid, you've got a recessed foot tray in the lid. And so you've still got to have clearance for your latches that are locking, and you still got to take into account your track underneath. And so this was a lot of math getting this all in here, guys. I wasn't the greatest at math in school, but we've got 2 latches because we couldn't put one in the center because of the seat pedestal. So you've got the seat pedestal, you got your 2 latches, then you've got a storage hatch. And this is just for tackle or whatever he wants to throw in here. This is where it gets kind of cool. Down here, I've got a false floor. This lifts up, and then you've got that masterpiece, which is all the plumbing, pumping unit for the live well. So of course the hose comes from the back, runs to this pump, and then fills up the live well. And then it's got your recirc and then your pump out. And then I showed you earlier in the video the through hole fittings going out that side. One is the overflow and one is the pump out. Again, we've got the Tiny Boat Nation Outdoors recessed foot pedal tray inside the lid, and just another storage hatch. You got the fuse box over here feeding any electronics he wants to run up front. Right now, he's just got one Garmin. That is the 10-inch. He's got a drain in case water gets in there. It actually drains out and goes through the floor and into the channel of the boat. Just another area to store more stuff. Clean and simple. And there is that Garmin on a ram mount, so he could swivel it whichever direction he sees fit when he's on the water. Of course, the Garmin mounts up to the Garmin. and it can run on 24 volt or 36. He's got it on the 24, and again, wireless on the foot pedal. You could hardwire it in. He's going wireless. And I'm aware that the skeg is broken. He bought this unit used, and so when he picks up the boat, he will be putting the new skeg on because it's in his possession. Beyond that, I think that's the setup with electronics up front. Again, this goes into the fuse box in that hatch, and when he upgrades and stacks graphs or gets pan optics, he could just wire everything in really easily into that fuse box that we ran dedicated to his front electronics. A few closing details up front. Again, we've got these access panels that I created. Got one on each side and got one in the middle. They are removable, so the customer can get his hand underneath this bow if he needs to remove the trolling motor, access wiring, or for some reason get to the nav light wiring. He could get underneath that front end. So just thinking ahead on that one. And then remember earlier how I discussed how much I love these flat gunnels. That enabled us to build side panels down the side that are hollow to hide wiring, to route wiring, and then also add these pretty cool boat buckle rod holders that are retractable. You'll find these in a lot of the fiberglass bass boats. Hard to get them in a John boat because typically you just have flat aluminum, but because we have that hollow spacing back there, able to get these in there, and just something a little bit more unique. All right, guys, I think that's it. I think I covered everything. If I missed something, I apologize. This boat has more work, more details, more parts, more labor than any project that I've done to date. It has been a lot, but it turned out, I think it turned out really awesome. I hope that you guys like it as well. And you know what? If not, as long as the customer likes it, that's really all that matters. I would love to have this boat. Maybe one day I'll have as nice of a boat as the ones I get to build for my customers. Check me out on Instagram, adubjones. Facebook's just Brigade Boats. So I hope you guys enjoy this project. Hope you enjoy this video. If you have any comments, questions, leave them down below, and I'll try to get back with you. I appreciate you guys. Catch you on the next one.